Hi, this is Barry J. McDonald here, and I'd like to welcome you to today's episode from Rightcome.com. And today I want to tell you to be a big failure and not a failure. And I mean as in a failure, as an F-A-I-L-E-R, somebody who fails a lot, but somebody who continues on and keeps going even though they're failing. And when I think back to all the things I've gone through in the past, all the things I failed at, I used to be in network marketing, and I went through two different companies, and I failed at both of them. In the second one, I actually built a bit of an audience, and I had a bit of a list, and I was actually making some money, and then the company went bust, and of course all the hard work I'd done was just tossed out of the wind. And so that was a failure for me. I remember sitting outside and in the car while Catherine used to go to the meetings, and I used to have the two young kids in the car, sometimes sitting in the car, while they were running maybe 2 or 3, and keeping the car taken over for the hour that the meeting was on a winter's evening while she was at the meeting, so we could get a head start and make some money in network marketing. And that was just totally wasted. I can think back to another time years later then, when we came to a point where we were financially broke, and it came to the stage where we had to sell the house. If we didn't sell the house, the bank was going to take it off us. So that was a low point in my life. And at the time when I drove into the driveway and I saw the for sale sign on the lawn, it really got to me. It just felt like I felt like a total failure. I felt like it was like that for sale sign was like a beacon for all the neighbours to kind of look and kind of nudge each other and say, do you know what happened to your man? This is why, that's why they're selling, because it's not because they want to move, it's because the bank is going to take the house off them. And at that point it was really, really low point for me. And what made it worse at the time, when I seen that sign, I was just sitting in the car, and I was just thinking over all the things that had gone wrong up to that point, and us having 2 young kids, and me being a father and supposed to be putting a house, putting a roof over their heads, and taking care of them and keeping them safe, and yet here I was, in a couple of weeks' time we were going to be having to rent, or have to find some place, and constantly be on the back foot. And I seem to be going backwards instead of forwards. I looked at the family members who seem to be moving forward on with their life, and they all seem to be going in the right direction, and here I was failing and falling backwards. But when I was sitting in the car and I was just thinking all those different things and looking at the sign, like, my heart was broken at that stage. But what made it worse was Matthew, my 3-year-old son at the time. He said to me, "Daddy, this is the best house we've ever had. I love this house." And at the time it just broke me. I couldn't look at him, because those tears were flowing from my eyes. And even now I can still see that scene in my mind. I can still picture his wee voice saying those words to me. And even now I'm welling up. You can probably hear it. But at the time I felt such a failure, and I thought that was my lowest point. But now 15 years later, now when I look back at that moment, even though that was one of my lowest points, and it was such a failure for me, I came away with so much, so many things I came away from that failure. At the time I thought there'd be nothing good in it, but from that failure I found out, that there was more important things to that house than just the bricks and mortar. It actually brought our family closer together, because it brought me and Catherine closer together, because we really needed to rely on each other to get through it. And if we couldn't stand together, well then at this time, when was it ever gonna, we needed to work on our marriage and keep a strong marriage for the kids' sakes, and for us too as well as a couple. It was a really challenging time, but it brought us closer together because of being through that. And that was one plus from that. Another thing I learned then too was that there's more to life than a house and bricks and mortar. Family comes first. And then another plus that came from it now, even the house where I'm doing this video from now, it's in a different location, a far better location that the other house was in. And to tell you the truth, I'm so much happier in this house than I ever was in the other house. And the kids are too. It's right, and close to the city, and everything is convenient compared to when the last house was. It was out in the countryside. So even that low point now, when I look back, I can see so many pluses that came from those failures. Even the network marketing companies, those times I was out putting out leaflets and letterboxes day after day, and sending out information packs and answering phone calls and stuff like that. Even though I have nothing to show for all that, I still came away with experience, and it motivated me to keep going. That motivation I had to go out every day to put out those leaflets, it's still in me. That motivation's still there. and then losing the house too as well, you know, that motivated me that I never want to go back to that low point again. And even if I do go back to that low point, I've been there before and I know what to expect, and I know how it's going to hurt, but it's not going to hurt as much as it did the first time it did, because I've been there. So whatever you're doing today, whatever failures you're going through, whether it's life failures or whether it's business failures or just whatever it is that you're going through, you know, you may think, well, you know, this is terrible and awful, but I'm sure in a couple of days, couple of weeks times, you're going to look back at those failures and you're going to have something from them. You know, as Will Smith says, if you're going to fail, fail forward. You know, keep falling forward. You're going to make a couple of inches, and the next time you make an attempt, you're going to gain another bit of experience. You're going to gain something that wasn't there before in you because you tried and you failed. And then you're going to take that knowledge and, you know, that experience and that life, you know, from that moment that you failed, and you're going to be a different person that's going into the next opportunity you do. You know, the next time you try, you've moved up another notch, and you've moved up another notch. So just what I want to tell you today, you know, be a failure. You're not a failure for failing over and over again, because each time you fail, you're gaining more and more experience, and, you know, the next opportunity that you take, it's going to be a different person that's going to be, you know, entering that opportunity. And if you fail at that too, well, then you're going to gain more experience, and you're constantly gaining more and more and more experience. So I'm telling you today to be a failure, and you're not a failure. So my name is Barry J. McDonald. I hope you enjoyed this episode at writecom.com. If you'd like to know a little bit more about me, you're very welcome to come over to the blog that's at writecom, WRITECOME.com, or you can follow me on Instagram, or you can just look for the hashtag writecom, search in Google, and you'll find all the different places where I am. So thanks for listening, and take care and have a great day. Bye bye.